everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to my episode of 5 Haunting Questions with the adorable, lovely Beardo this week. And I love him, and I love his little dolly. It's always here. So without further ado, here is Beardo. Hello, Beardo.
Hello. That's one of the nicest introductions I've ever had.
Oh, you may. And look, my little dolly, it's always here. It's generally, now I'll sit it up there near the Shape and Crow. It's usually up the back there. But because I did have him on my chair, but he kept falling off. And then the cat grabbed Mini Beardo and thought he was a cat toy. And I had a heart attack. So we can't have that.
Cat, get a little Beardo out of your mouth.
That's right. So, Beardo, thank you for doing this. And for anybody who is watching, and there may be a few, I don't know how there's anyone watching that doesn't know who you are, but in case there is, would you like to sort of tell everybody what it is that you do, exactly what your channel's about?
So I'm Beardo Gets Scared, and I debunk fake paranormal videos, but I happen to believe in the paranormal. Where that is, I don't know, but it's fun in the journey. So I do investigations, I do debunkings, and I also promote the channels that I think are legitimately conducting investigations as to, the silly Hollywood nonsense that people are throwing out there right now.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. I think you and I think along the same lines with that. I certainly have changed my view on paranormal. So yeah, it's always good to, make sure that people are aware of what's really going on, just in case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So in regard to the paranormal, I've asked many people what their experience was. What was it initially that may have happened to you, if anything at all, that made you think, hang on a bit, what the hell, and got you interested in the paranormal?
The initial thing was I was really young, and as an adult, I almost discounted. But when I was really young, I used to spend a lot of time at my grandparents' house because both my parents worked full time, and it was just a thing in Wales. You borderline lived with your grandparents, and I woke up and there's just this guy stood in the bedroom, and being like 4 or 5, I freaked out. I didn't think ghost or anything. There was a man that I didn't recognize just stood there looking at me. I freaked out, told my grandparents, and I was that young I couldn't describe his military uniform properly. I was just like, he was wearing a funny suit. He wasn't like see-through or anything. I don't know how much my memory has changed since that initial thing. But I was proper scared, and my grandfather was like, "There's nobody here, you idiot, and come on now, it's fine." And then my nan was like, "Maybe he's seen something. Maybe he's seen someone." And my grandfather's like, "You're going to scare him? Shut up. Let it." And then 4 or 5 years later, my uncle, who's, 10 years older than me, he had the exact same experience in the exact same room and described the exact same man. And then it must have been years later. My uncle was in the forces. I was a teenager. And my great-grandmother was quite ill, and my grandmother's got the family photo album out. And she just turns this page, and I went, "That's that man." And my grandmother was like, "That's your great-grandfather." I said, "That's who I saw." And my uncle looked over, and he was like, "That's who I saw." And there was only one photo my grandmother had of him, and she never got it out because she didn't want it destroyed or damaged. It was kept away because he died. I think she was only around 2 years old, so she's got no memory of her father. And that's who we both saw. Now, how much of it was each other's memories, but for us both to have looked at that photo and gone, "That's him."
That's him.
And then I discounted it for years. And then, I've spoken about it a lot now, the really bad Ouija board experience I had. But as a kid, there was a guy we called Uncle Pete, but he wasn't our uncle. But as a teenager, I saw him twice after he passed away. And there was no reason for it. I was in my auntie's house, who lived like 15 miles from where he was. He'd never been to that house. And we sat in her living room having a conversation. The corner of my eye, I was just like, "I just see Pete on the stairs." And she was like, "Yeah, I see him all the time."
The other question that I sometimes ask in regard to, well, I always ask it, and especially in the recent papers internet. We don't have newspapers much anymore, do we? I'm showing my age. the aliens in the mall, in Miami. But in regard to aliens, what's your personal opinion on them? Do you think that, do you believe in them, or are you still not convinced? What's your thoughts on
I
aliens?
believe in aliens. I think it's ignorant not to, because the universe is never ending, and to think that we are the only planet with the only life on it is quite ignorant. So, and it's quite comforting to think there's something else out there. Like the paranormal can be comforting. You know, your loved ones don't just disappear into the ground.
Yeah.
But do I believe that they're coming over in flying saucers and abducting farmers in Central America and probing them? Probably not.
Or ripping their faces off, is I think the other
No.
claim.
And it's
Yeah,
like
I
every
don't.
time somebody tells me, go and watch this thing about aliens, like the Skinwalker Ranch documentary. I watched 2.5 hours of that. They provided in 2.5 hours and 13 years of footage, or
No
sorry,
evidence.
evidence, nothing. Not a
Mhm.
sniff of it. They were just telling people stories. And I'm like, that doesn't prove anything to
Anything.
me. And for me, that just proves that it's all a load of poo.
Bollocks.
Well, I wasn't going to swear because, I'm a guest. But yeah.
Oh, well, bollocks. Bollocks isn't a bad swear word.
It's different in
But yeah.
Australia. You get away with words in Australia. We can't in the UK.
Oh, really? Oh, all right then. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. Yet to be convinced, but not stupid enough or arrogant enough to believe that it's not true. I
No.
mean, there's definitely some odd things going on, but to what it really is and what's really
Yeah,
happening,
and I
you know.
definitely think that we have been visited. Like the pyramids, that is
No,
mind blowing. That's got to be something else. But then to see the same images drawn all over the world in caves and
it's
stuff of the
it's
same type
interesting.
of being, and then when you
Mm.
look at religion, like the Norse mythology, and they describe like Odin on his chariot in the sky, and I'm like, was that Odin on his chariot in the sky,
Or
or
was
was
it?
that something they didn't understand and presumed it to be
And
a
that's
god?
well, yeah. And it's interesting because even some of those carvings, and people can look this up for themselves, but even some of those carvings and drawings are very much like, it's really weird. It looks like it's men in spacesuits, and
Yeah,
some of it, like, it's totally mind blowing. But yeah, I like to believe. It's good to believe
yeah,
in something.
yeah.
I
Of
mean,
course it is.
spoiler alert, people, I can't believe in Santa anymore or the Easter Bunny, so I've got to believe in something.
Hey, the
Oh, no,
jolly
I
fat man
haven't
is real. You're talking to him.
Oh, gosh. And I normally too ask a silly question. So I will ask you this question.
Yeah,
This is just an out there question. Boxers or briefs or commando?
boxers. I can't do
Yeah.
briefs.
No, that'd be too tight and constricting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but because I'm a big lad, I'd get what we call in the UK chub rub, where your thighs rub together.
I thought you were insinuating something else there, Beardo, but
No. My
uh,
legs.
your legs. Um, and so far as everything else is concerned, in regard to because, as you said before, you debunk basically,
Yeah,
and you do go out sometimes and investigate.
yeah,
Um, in regard to investigating, do you enjoy that part of it? How do you
yes.
feel when you?
Um,
Yeah.
I I've always investigated. I mean, like everyone else in the UK, I watched Most Haunted and was like, "Wow, the
Yeah.
paranormal's real." So me and the boys, we'd all pile into somebody's house, whoever had Sky TV. We'd watch
And what?
Yvette and Co, and then we'd be like, "Right, there's an Abbey
And
just
Derek?
down the road. Let's go." And then we'd be sat out there freezing for hours on end, like, "What are we doing wrong? Why are we getting
Nothing's
things thrown at
happening.
us?
Why
Why is
hasn't
nothing
anything?
whistling?" And I
Why
did it for
aren't
years. Um, and then obviously I got a bit older, had children and stuff, so I didn't really bother so much. And then I met a couple of friends who were really into the paranormal and got back into it. So I've always sort of dipped in and out of it. And I've always gone out and you get these haunted events where people will hire a building and take like 30 or 40 people. I used to pay and go on those things,
Mm.
but then I got kind of put off by it because it was 30 or 40 people. You could hear everyone all over the building, and the people that run those things, fair play to them, they must have the patience of a saint.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody running around screaming there's a demon, or they'll say no Ouija boards in this property, and there's 8 of them in there doing Ouija boards and screaming and throwing stuff, and it's like, I don't want to do them anymore. It's too much. It's not what I set out to do. And then I started watching things like Taps and Ghost Adventures. I watch Ghost Adventures to this day, but for the wrong reasons. I like to laugh. And then I kind of got really turned off by it all because it was just all this ridiculous, overblown junk. And then I started doing this. Channel started as a reaction channel to Nuke's Top 5. And initially I was like, the paranormal's out there. Look at it. All right. All right. It's all rubbish. And then I accidentally found this channel called The Ouija Brothers. And I was like, this is what I've always wanted to do. This is paranormal investigating. This is how I want my investigations to go. And then found Dean, who's a like-minded guy. He was a little bit more gullible than I was. He believed some channels that I've debunked, and then he came around to it. And that's just what we do now. And since that, I've got to find this whole community of real channels, and I've got to investigate with a couple of them, and I'm going out with a lot more of them this year.
And it'll be fun. And me.
And, well, there's yourself. There's the crazy other ants from Oz. Adelaide Haunted Horizons. I'm going to be working with them next year. And there's a few surprises in the bag for people I'm going to be working with in the next year.
All right. So I've come to the last question now, Beardo. In regard to the future, what should people look out for? What's coming up on the channel, like soonish? What sort of things can people tune in to see? And is there anything you want to spruik, your merch, anything like that? What's happening?
So coming up, there'll be more of the usual, the debunkings, the promotions, is that real, isn't it real, that kind of thing. No doubt I'm going to get into arguments and fights with people. I can't help it. If it's real, it's real. If it's fake, I'm going to say it's fake. I don't care who you are. But as well as that, I've got a documentary project that I'm working on with Steve from the Ouija Brothers, where we're going to be looking into the real paranormal, the time, the effort, the money, the hours and hours of time away from your family, and then the editing, which is 60 plus hours a week, because they do an investigation a week. And then it's the look into the family life and the cost, the expense, all the stuff that you don't see for a 30-minute to 40-minute video a week where nothing happens. That interests me. Why, 7 years to stay that dedicated. It's incredible. I've got my Ouija board experiment. That's going to be like a multi-part thing where I do Ouija boards with different people for the next month or two. Disbelievers, believers, and everything in between, just to see if anything can ever provoke a reaction and what we can capture on film. And then for me, at the end of it all, to say, I think my experience as a teenager was, and that's the end of that.
Yep. So, actually, it's interesting. It's interesting. And you've got merch on your channel, haven't you?
Yes, we've got, it's through T-Mill. Yeah, we got T-shirts and hoodies. We haven't got a lot on there because I suffer that a little bit of the imposter syndrome. It's like people keep saying, you've got a massive channel, you need to do this for your merch. I'm like, who's going to wear my T-shirts?
That's how I feel too. Like, who wants my mug on a mug, or who wants my?
I don't know. And it's like it's starting to dawn on me because like people are saying you need to put the cost of your T-shirts up. I was like, I'm not doing that. They're like, how much do you make off a T-shirt? I was like, £1.25. And they were like, well, put the price up. I was like, I can't. I'm just some guy that shouts on the internet. But now I've started having people stop me in the street. I've been stopped in service stations. I've had people, if I pay you, can you sign this for my son? And I'm like, I'm not charging you for that. It's mind blowing, but it's really exciting as well. Really exciting.
So yeah, it can be like people watch the episodes where people fake and think, oh my God, and think it's real.
Yeah.
Then yeah, like you say, they tune in to watch somebody like the Ouija, but although they're good, they're doing so well with the editing. It's actually fun watching them. The Ouija brothers. It's fun watching them, and that's the whole point. To have fun watching, it doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but you can show people that you're trying to do whatever.
Yeah, and you're trying to keep it real, which is a big thing for me, because like some people I know of that have emailed me, like they believed this channel for so long and they were at their wits' end. Why can't I speak to? And it's like, that's heartbreaking. And a lot of people have called me a party pooper, and they've said, "Oh, you're the guy that destroys people's beliefs and dreams." And I'm like, I'm not destroying people's beliefs and dreams. I'm the first one to say, if your grandmother has passed away and you've had an experience where you smell or hear her and that makes you feel better, and you think that's your grandmother visiting you, then have it. By all means, have that. It could be. I'm not going to tell you that's wrong.
No. And I'm the first one to agree with you there, because I watch the people that fake things, and I watch people that possibly don't, and I've been on investigations myself. I still believe. I still believe, and I want to believe, because maybe one day I can figure it all out, and just want to know, for example, that my boy is safe. Like, wherever he is he okay? I don't want him to come back and forward unless it's fun. Like, just be happy where you are, mate. I still believe you. I don't think that you're being a Debbie Downer or a party pooper. You're just pointing out the ones that are faking it. And
I try to direct people to the guys that are not faking it. And
correct.
Of all of those channels that are doing the real work, that don't capture much, or if anything, they've all had an experience that triggered their love of it, and they want to recapture that experience, which is kind of why I do it as well. But not one of them, when I've explained things that I've experienced to them, or when we tell them about what goes on in this house, not one of them has ever said, "You're full of it." Not one of them.
No.
And Partle's gutted. We were doing a podcast like this, and there was a picture behind me that I drew, and Partle saw it lift up behind me and drop. And I was like, "Did I hit that with my chair?" And he was like, "I don't know, I'll check the footage." And he rewound it back while we were live, and he was like, "Holy shit." He was like, "I knew that you weren't lying." He said, "But I've just seen it with my own eyes. That's lifted and fallen off, and you were nowhere near it." It's like, amazing. And then he went to edit it, and he's like, "It's not there. There's only 3 seconds of footage." He said, "And it's not there. It's gone. And I can't work out where the hell it's gone." And he can recover corrupt files. And he's like, "There's just this cut in the video, and it's gone."
Wow. See, that's what I mean. I do believe. I do. And things happened after my son passed away. Something happened after my grandpa passed away. Yeah. But all things that you can't prove. It's a personal experience. But yeah, so it is. I love what you do. I enjoy it. I don't think I've ever seen you be horrible or anything. There was a time there, of course, where you were getting a lot of flack from people that were horrible. It's a tough spot to be in. I'm starting to get a little flack myself, because I'm calling out places and saying, "Hey, that's not true." That didn't
you
happen.
Will get it.
And I've already copped it a little bit, and I just delete delete it. I think I've researched it. You proved me wrong.
Yeah, I'm my own worst enemy, because I'll get that, "Oh, you're nasty, you're horrible, you're a bully because you've done this." And I'm like, am I really a bully because you're believing that crap? And I can't help but fire back. I used to do negative comment videos, and I got myself into so much trouble with it that I just stopped doing them. But this week there's one coming out, because some people are just so ridiculous in their claims. Like, one guy has told me that I cannot be a debunker and a paranormal investigator at the same time.
Oh my God, that's part and parcel. You've got to be.
You can't have your cake and eat it. And I'm like, that is the exact opposite of what you should be telling people.
Absolutely.
Of course, investigate. I don't know any of the debunkers apart from the side-eye guy that has never gone out and investigated, but he wants to now. And he is a complete disbeliever bar one experience he's had. And now he's like, "I want to go out and investigate." And I'm like, "Good luck wearing a shoebox on your head."
Yeah.
I'm going to tripping over everything.
Oh dear. He can quite easily. I have said to him before, just aim the camera. You don't. I barely ever show my face. Only one episode recently where I thought I'll just talk to everybody and did a hello, whatever, because you've got the camera, you're like this, and you don't even have to show anyone else's face when you film. You can film down at their feet. That's no biggie.
I think there's 2 people helping him with some form of mask that he could actually wear out on him. Obviously, he's going to have to put trust in the people that he goes out with, but it'd be good for him to go out and get that experience as well, because then
absolutely.
when somebody says to you, what would you know? You're just an armchair critic. And it's like, well, actually, no. Because I get it all the time. You're an armchair critic. What would you know? It's like, oh, I've been to 30 East Drive. I've been to my haunted hotel twice. I've been to like all the abbeys and abandons and all the rest of it that I can find. The country that I live in is got such a rich history. I'm never any more than, I think it's 10 miles from a castle. Where I live, I can walk to 4 different castles within an hour. So don't tell me that I don't do my work. Just because I don't post a video every time I go to these places doesn't mean I'm not there and investigating. I just don't like going out on my own with a camera and doing this.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I haven't, I've been to, while I was in America, I went to quite a few places, filmed, got myself into a position where I could sit quietly, listen, ask questions. Nothing happened. And I thought, does anyone really want to see that? And I thought, look, I'll just pop an episode out, like at the Washoe. I thought I'll just show them how I investigate at the very least. And I just walk around, and someone said to me, oh, you've got to be quiet and give them a chance to talk back. And I thought, oh, well, no. I said, I've edited this. I was quiet.
Yeah, we've taken out the 20 minutes of just sat there.
Where I said nothing. So I walked around and blah, 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 talking, because I thought, well, if there is a spirit here, I'll just talk my head off, let it be comfortable. And
they're not going to talk to you if you're not talking to them.
Absolutely
if it's possible, then make them feel at ease, make them comfortable. Or if it's something that's rumoured to be bad, give it a bit of stick, give it a little poke.
Oh, not when I'm by myself.
No.
But you see, I do my research before I go in, and that's why, for example, the Washoe, I can't imagine why there's anything horrible there at all. I've researched who did die there. I've researched the history of the place. I've worked out that most of the stories told about that are actually not correct. So I wasn't frightened when I went in there. I sort of thought, well, I don't really think there's anything bad here at all, unless someone brought it there, if that's possible. But yeah, you just, so people say, shh, and I'll go, well, no, because that's just not how I do it. I want to talk and let whoever that is. And,
does things their way. It's not an exact science, so there's no right or wrong way to do it. There are guys that I really enjoy, that I watch, that I work with. Like when I went to 30 East Drive, I went with a team called Connecting to Afterlife, and they were like, right, we don't like provoking. And I was like, well, fine, it's your investigation. You've just invited me along. I'll investigate with you. They were like, oh, we thought you'd like to provoke. I was like, well, this thing apparently pulled a girl up the stairs by her hair and then choked her. So yeah, I would love to give it a bit of, come at me, pick me up.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that on your investigation, because you're nice guys that don't like provoking. That I'll investigate your way. But when I go back there with people that think like me, I'm going to try and get something to show yourself to me. And if that means provoking it, I speak to whatever the history of a place is very different. If there's rumors of children, then very different. I'll cut my language, because I do swear a lot, but I'll cut that out. And then if it's something where, somebody was murdered, you speak to the victim in one tone, and then the murderer is like, you piece of...
Yes. Yeah. But, I think, like you say, everybody investigates differently.
You watch a lot of the real guys. They film stuff in colour, and they'll spread that out to the video so you can see the house. They'll do B-roll shots in colour.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you're only doing that in night vision to make it look creepy, and it's like, there's no power there. Now, we could put the big white light on, but if you're not technically supposed to be there, you don't want to alert.
Especially if it's an abandoned location. Yeah. So I would never go to an abandoned location, because I'd be by myself, and I would be too scared that a human might jump out and hurt
that's
me.
The scary thing is humans.
the scary things are the humans, the ghosties. I reckon if I saw something, I'd probably actually go and get, because your body would just automatically react that way. But I wouldn't run. I've never run.
You'll get the fight or flight, and some people have
Yeah.
said I won't run, and then they run because you don't know how you're going to react, fight or flight. But when you're doing the same places week after week after week, and you run away every week, when you say, if you're a demon, close that door, and then the door slams and you run away, it's like you're acting now, because after a while, doors slamming don't become scary. It's like, oh, he slammed the door again. Oh, well done.
Yeah, you get to have a relationship with the ghosty, perhaps, or the demon.
Or the piece of string that they pull in the door
or
with.
the piece of string, yeah.
But yeah, you never know, you react, because when me and Dean first went out, we did this old abandoned care home, and the fear we had there was this place is going to cave in around us. We shouldn't be in here. I nearly broke my leg. If Dean hadn't have caught me, my leg, the floor just disappeared. Somebody took a manhole cover and my leg went in. And if I'd carried on going, I'd have snapped my leg. Dean caught me and I was like, why are we walking around in the dark like everyone else? And then I asked Steve, and Steve was like, you don't. You walk around with your torch, get to a point, set up, and then turn the lights off. I was like, all right. And he was like, yeah, don't.
Excuse me.
Bless you. So that was a bit of a learning curve. But while we were in this building, I'm like, can you hear that? And Dean's like, it sounds like the brakes of a bicycle, but there's nothing around us. What is that noise? And we were convinced something was happening. And then I looked at the corner of my eye. I was like, I've just seen a light there. And Dean went, what do you mean? It was like a little glimmer of light past the wall. And he was like, is this paranormal? I was like, no, there's somebody in here. And he went, really? So Dean sort of stood with his back to the corner of a room like, what do I do? And instinctively, I just went straight at where I thought somebody was going to be. And Dean was like, what are you doing? I was like, if it's security, I would rather be like, I'm here, not smashing the place up. We're just filming. Do you want us to leave? That was the idea in my head. My other thing was, I don't want to surprise anyone because then they could lash out.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm a big guy. I've done security for years and years and years, and I can look after myself. I turned this corner and there was just this woman's face in front of me. And as I turned it, she screamed and I shit myself. I sort of took off upwards, but as I came down, my arm was already up like, I'm going to knock somebody out. And then I realized what had happened. There was another paranormal team had come in.
Didn't know you were there.
They got scared of the noises of me and Dean whispering, like, what's that? We'd obviously heard them and thought, what's that? And almost walked into each other. But the funniest part was this lady was lovely. And she was like, oh, it's all right. The boys would have had my back. And I went, do you mean those three guys that have run over there? They've gone. But they thought I was security. But yeah, it was a really fun experience.
All right, let me think. I've asked you all the 5 questions. So I have asked you all the 5 questions.
You have.
I have, and we've had a good chin wag as well. We have. So in regard to everybody who's watching and listening, please, 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 I'm sure you already have, please go to Beardo's channel and like and subscribe and even become a member for little perkies. And if you've never seen my channel before, like and subscribe. More to come. But yeah, it's been a joy, Beardo, and thank you. Long time coming. Beardo is such a busy person. It has
been a long time. I mean, you've supported me from my early days, so there's no way I was gonna not do it. But I had to keep like letting you down and like I'm too busy. I'm too busy. But we got there. We got there.
No, we got there. So thank you, and we'll see who my next guinea pig is. I'll get to another person soon. But I just want to thank you so much. It's been a joy. And I hope everybody on. No worries. Okay.
It's been great to actually talk to you properly because I think I've been in one of your lives I've been in your lives and it's like I'm typing away. And then you've been in my lives and you're typing away and it's not quite the same as
it's not the same as talking to each other. So it's been good. Well, thank you. And I'll say goodbye to everybody and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.